Good afternoon and welcome to Boothbury Park for this third division encounter between bottom of the table Hull City and 6th place Swansea. Well, despite last Tuesday's gripping 2-1 victory over Macclesfield in the Coca-Cola Cup, Hull has still yet to score a league goal or record a point in the league after 3 straight defeats so far. In fact, it has been 492 league minutes since Hull City's last goal, a penalty by Gregor Rioch back in April, so they would love to get off the mark today as they line up with Scott Thompson in goal. At 2 Patrick Dickinson, 3 Gregor Rioch, 4 Ian Wright, 5 Tony Bryan, 6 Rob Dewhurst, 7 Richard Peacock, 8 Warren Joyce, Dwayne Darby wears 9, 10 Glyn Hodges and 11 Neil Mann. And for the Tigers on the bench today, number 12 Antonio Donthell, 13 Steve Wilson and 14 Andy Brown. And for Swansea today, they line up with Roger Freestone in goal, 2 Jason Price, 3 John Hills, 4 Keith Walker, 5 Christian Edwards, 6 Jonathan Coates, 7 Richard Appleby, 8 Dave O'Gorman, 9 Tony Bird, 10 Kwame Ampadu and 11 David Putnam. And on the bench for the Swans today, number 12 Sean Chappell, 13 Gary Jones and 14 Jamie Harris. As we prepare to kick off this third division game. And it will be Glyn Hodges and Dwayne Darby to set us underway. They will be attacking the north stand, the stand to our goal to our left in this first half. Swansea in the white shirts attacking the goal to our right. The referee today is David Laws, incidentally, from Whitley Bay. And he sets us underway. And that's straight back for Neil Mann to boot the ball forwards towards its left-hand side. And that runs out of play for a throw-in to Swansea. Taken quickly and forwards by Appleby. Here's Neil Mann. On a poor ball low, picked up by Appleby. And Ampadu gets the ball back and spreads the play out to the left-hand side. Looking to move down the line, Appleby in there once more. Mann comes away with the ball though. He has Hodges inside, good running from Neil Mann. And he will try and look outside, but Swansea player got in the way that time. The ball didn't quite run there for Dwayne Darby, but an encouraging start nonetheless by the Tigers. Here's Ian Wright. Tony Bird shadowing him, and the ball forward looking for Glyn Hodges, but here's Neil Mann who picks the ball up. He's playing in central midfield today, which is his preferred position. He has been played wide on the left various times this season as Swansea attack down the right hand side with Walker. His ball in is cut out by Mann, but certainly Neil Mann feels that he shows his best when he plays in the centre of midfield, and he will have a chance to prove that this afternoon. O'Gorman attacks Gregor Rioch, the skipper, but Rioch as well to come away with the ball and fires it forward, and good control there by Glyn Hodges, and plays it to Darby, gets the ball back Hodges, and was just stretching for that a little bit, so Swansea retain possession. Christian Edwards with the ball forwards. There's Warren Joyce. Once more though, the ball cut out, and Ampadu seems to be playing just behind the front two to start with today. Ball in by Edwards and nearly found Tony Bird, but a good clearance, and here's Hodges. Hodges for Joyce, and a lovely ball by Warren Joyce to Patrick Dickinson on the far side. Now Dwayne Darby, once again with his back to goal, but he does win a throw-in. Derby. Just lost out there, and Edwards and Ampadu. The forwards by Hills. Well, in fact, Swansea City have the only remaining 100% record in the third division after 2 home wins so far. 1-0 over Brighton and 2-0 over Scunthorpe. As they attack once more, and that ball forward by Coates was looking for O'Gorman, and a good clearance by Ian Wright. And a throw-in will be taken. In fact, Putman does leave it for John Hills. Decides to throw it back. Here's Ampadu. Ball forwards, just got a flick on there, and that nearly fell for Coates. Swansea still forcing the ball inside Hull City's half and spreading the play nicely here out to this left-hand side. Hills once more, and his cross was blocked by Dickinson. And the throw-in is taken quickly, and a good throw-in indeed, and Putman tried to get the cross in, but here goes Glyn Hodges. Good ball back to Dickinson. He's appeared for the Canadian national team. Patrick Dickinson at under 18 and under 21 levels. As Richard Peacock spreads the ball out to this near hand side. Tony Bryan. Well, it certainly did the team a lot of good, that win on Tuesday. For team morale, certainly after the start of the season was less than encouraging. 3 straight defeats in the league, and quite comprehensive defeats. Ampadu got the ball. It's quite a strong pass, but Ampadu comes away with it, and his cross in is dealt with by Joyce. The ball forwards headed by Walker. Price. Coates looking forward for Bird once more. Here he is, and that could fall for Price, although Gregor Rioch is there and has to just clear the ball. And here is Jason Price, the 20-year-old Welshman who broke into the Swansea team last season. Certainly a promising prospect, as are quite a few players in this Swansea team. Here's one of them, Coates, just losing possession to Dickinson, who is being forced backwards. Oh, and a dangerous ball nearly found Tony Bird, and Bryan manages to scramble the ball clear, but that was really dangerous play, and it was a loose bit of defending, you must say, by Patrick Dickinson. But here comes Glyn Hodges on the counter-attack for Hull City. Spreads the ball nicely, and well taken too by Gregor Rioch. His cross is blocked. And a good defensive header as well. And Swansea dealt with the attack there from Hull City very competently indeed. Here's Rob Dewhurst for the Tigers. Oh, and a loose ball that nearly puts Swansea in again. Lovely ball by Tony Bryan. And here's Dickinson. Tried to make amends for that dangerous bit of defending just a few moments ago, but he hasn't won the corner he hoped for. And Roger Freestone has, I think, his first touch of the game. The 29-year-old goalkeeper is won under 21 youth and schoolboy caps for England. He was uncharacteristically inconsistent, really, towards the end of last season. He conceded quite a few goals. But Swansea's encouraging start to this season proves that he's almost back to his best. And a throw in on the far side for Swansea to be taken by John Hills. Swansea hit the ball forwards, but once again Wright clears it. Derby went in for the header, but we really haven't seen anything of Dwayne Derby so far. hasn't got off the mark yet this season in scoring terms, Dwayne Darby. He was Hull City's top scorer last season, of course, with 20 goals in all competitions. As good play by Warren Joyce, and here's Glyn Hodges, who runs into trouble in the shape of Kwame Ampadu, and an excellent ball out to the far side. And Putnam attacks his marker, fires in the shot, and that was inches away from the opening goal for Swansea. David Putnam, he was signed from Gillingham in the close season, nearly got his name onto the score sheet there. It would have been his first ever goal for Swansea. However, it just whistled by the post, and Scott Thompson is relieved to be able to take this goal kick. We've played 9 minutes and it's still goalless, the game, but quite entertaining. Swansea perhaps having slightly the better of it. Oh, and a poor clearance there though by Tony Bryan, and picked up by O'Gorman, but Hull City had the second bite. Certainly Swansea looked the more confident in these opening minutes. You felt low in extra time though on Tuesday as that ball runs out for a Hull City throw. Really, Hull City's spirit shone through more than anything. They had to score in extra time, and they did so through Warren Joyce just 7 minutes before the final whistle. It showed great determination by the Tigers, and maybe that's just the encouragement they need to get their season kick-started as Gregor Rioch attacks the left side. Challenged by Appleby, but Rioch does well, and here's Neil Mann. He tried to nutmeg his marker, but does well to retrieve possession. Hodges took the ball well and was certainly fouled there. Oh, and in fact, the free kick has gone Swansea's way. I think that must go down as a handball against Glyn Hodges, but I must say very unfortunate. Certainly looked as though he was clattered from behind. As Coates does well to win possession off Richard Peacock, and a good ball square looking for Putnam once more. David Putnam, and his cross in is a bit too deep, but Gregor Rioch should clear the danger, and he does well. Rob Dewhurst with the throw-in, and Hull City have the throw-in once again there. Well, certainly Hull City supporters have got behind their team so far this season in a big way. 7,500 people turned up to the first game of the season here against Notts County, which is the biggest anywhere in the third division this season so far. Certainly looks like a healthy crowd again today as Neil Mann attacks the centre of midfield. Great tackle once more though by Walker, and Hull City win the ball back. Joyce to Peacock. Peacock looking for space to find a cross. Here's Dickinson, and Dickinson wins the throw-in. Peacock does well to beat Ampadu. Great cross, Darby's header, and that's the first goal for Hull City. Dwayne Darby's first goal of the season, and it was an excellent cross by Peacock and a similar header by Dwayne Darby, and an excellent start, it must be said, by Hull City. In the 13th minute of the game, the Tigers lead by 1-0. Their first goal of the season in league football. And Mark Haitley, as will all the other Hull City fans, will hope there are plenty more to come, not just from Dwayne Darby, but from the whole of the Hull City team. But that was an excellent finish by Darby, showing he's lost none of that form that got him the 20 goals last season. Swansea attack straight away, and here's Putnam. Good challenge by Wright, and Darby was nearly in. And now Richard Peacock, and Hull City can stretch Swansea to the limit once more, but the ball breaks, rather fortunately, you must say, for Walker. In fact, it's Coates there. Great run. Oh, here he is, Coates. And he's equalised straight away. in the 14th minute. And Jonathan Coates has equalised for Swansea City. It was a brilliant run by Keith Walker, and Dave O'Gorman was involved as well. But Swansea City are level within seconds of Hull City taking the lead. Oh, and that's a massive blow for the Tigers. Well, it was an excellent finish by Coates, just chipping Scott Thompson. And Hull City are back to square one. Well, a real shock that to the crowd here at Boothbury Park, but they still haven't lost any of their voice. Jonathan Coates, an excellent finish from the Wales under-21 player. He's been a regular in that squad. The 22-year-old did score 3 goals last season. Well, Hull City mustn't lose the momentum gained after they scored that goal. Although they'll certainly find it difficult. They've been pegged back, but then again last Tuesday night they were pegged back after taking the lead through Richard Peacock. After 14 minutes they were pegged back, but they managed to win that one, albeit in extra time. Dwayne Darby will attack Jason Price here though. A good clearance by Freestone. And here's Peacock trying to pick up the loose pieces. Here he is, and oh, good ball to Dwayne Darby, inches offside. Very, very close decision indeed. Dwayne Darby hungry for the scraps. And it's that sort of goal poaching attitude made him such a prolific goal scorer in the 3rd Division last season. That was looking for Walker. Here's Richard Peacock once more, seeing a lot of the ball in these opening few minutes, and a brilliant pass to find Gregor Rioch, and he's attacking Jason Price. Rioch does really well to win a corner. Or in fact, well, I wonder what the referee's given here. Yeah, there's certainly a corner has been given. Gregor Rioch ran straight away from it though. But not many Hull City players in the area, only Neil Mans at the near post. Maybe this is a corner routine to look out for. They did quite a nice, clever corner routine on Tuesday, which nearly brought them the goal, but here's Warren Joyce to take it left hand side in towards the far post, just too high for Ian Wright, but Tony Brown will retrieve it. The ball cannons off the defender to O'Gorman. Price with the throw-in, and Appleby losing out to some excellent play by Warren Joyce. And that's a pretty aimless ball by Swansea, and Rob Dewhurst will take the throw. It's Gregor Rioch. And Richard Peacock once more. It really has a zip about it, this game. It's hardly slowed down for a breath so far, as Ampadu looks for the left-hand side but doesn't find anyone there apart from a Hull City player. Gregor Rioch once again called into action and nearly won the ball off Jason Price there, but Price comes away. Appleby. Price will go for the return and gets it. Great pass from Appleby. And also excellent tackling back, and Price fouls his marker. That was well played, Neil Mann. He stuck with Jason Price and never gave up even when he went past him. Well, Swansea's manager is former Liverpool midfielder Jan Molby, who I should think will be happy with his team's response to that 13th minute goal by Dwayne Darby. And it was Jonathan Coates with the equaliser in the 14th minute. Here's Ampadu. His long ball is aimless and straight out of play. Well, last season's fixture here between these two sides finished 1-1 as well, after a late Neil Mann goal gave City the lead, only for Linton Brown to haunt his former club with a last-minute equaliser. And of course he is now gone on trial at Scarborough. Linton Brown, but as we stay with the players, Appleby plays in O'Gorman. O'Gorman's cross, it took a deflection and took all of the sting out of the cross. And Scott Thompson clears to Derby. Didn't know where the ball was, but Hodges wins out, and I've been impressed by Glyn Hodges' contribution so far in his Hull City career. Certainly looked impressive at Peterborough and on Tuesday, but here's Tony Bird on the left-hand side, shadowed by two players, and good hustling by Hull City there. Patrick Dickinson forcing the throw-in. Well, we've played just over 20 minutes, and the score is 1-1. And Richard Peacock spreads a lovely ball out to the left-hand side, and Gregor Rioch once more to attack his marker, plays the ball inside just beyond Glyn Hodges. Not quite on the same wavelength there, Hull City. And if they had been, they could be 2-1 up by now. Dewhurst with an excellent bit of defending, back to Scott Thompson. Well, the 31-year-old goalkeeper has played well so far, I think, despite being unfortunate enough to concede 7 goals in the 3 league games he's played in. A lovely bit of play by Dwayne Darby, nearly getting Neil Mann in. That really showed why so many clubs have taken an interest in Dwayne Darby, among them Fulham, West Ham, Crewe. Because it's not just his ability to score goals, and he does get his fair share of them, certainly, as he was scored over half Hull City's goals last season. But it's also his ability as a team member, and he just showed it there, chesting the ball off brilliantly for Neil Mann. But unfortunately, Neil Mann, who only scored 3 times last season, he's not the most prolific goal scorer of the midfield. Neil Mann couldn't take advantage, and here's Ampadu. Forward for Putnam once more. The Swansea City throw. Certainly Hull City aren't diving in, they're biding their time and standing off Swansea attackers. And we'll see how that tactic works as the game progresses. Hodges was second to that ball though, and here's Putnam. And that's a good ball inside, looking for O'Gorman. Here he is, battling with Warren Joyce. Peacock intervenes, but Swansea come away with the ball, but Appleby slips over, and here's Neil Mann on the counter-attack for Hull City. As Hodges ahead of him, Mann's pass was deflected, and Price was just clipped there by Hull City, but play continues. Swansea have possession. Price once more. Oh, great ball to Appleby, who's got inside his marker, but just ran the ball out of play. Richard Appleby was signed from Ipswich in 1996. And he scored his first goal for the club on the last day of last season against Hartlepool, after he returned from a horrific head injury, really. He had to have 24 stitches after a reserve team game. He's returned, and he's returned in good form as well. And here's Keith Walker attacking the left-hand side. A good ball forward for Hills, but he didn't take it in his stride. Dickinson's ball forwards can only find Ampadu. It's Putnam once more. O'Gorman. And good defending by Rob Dewhurst, and here's the skipper Gregor Rioch, who until Dwayne Darby's goal has of course scored Hull City's last goal. Excellent control by Dwayne Darby though, bringing it down. But in the end he loses out to Jason Price. Ampadu once more. Ampadu is a former Arsenal trainee. He's an attack-minded midfielder, and he certainly started the game in midfield. But if Swansea happen to go behind in this game, we might well see him going into a more forward position. John Hills with the throw-in on the far side. Gets the ball back. And here's Coates in for Ampadu, and Swansea just spreading the ball about, but they're not really getting anywhere. The two clear chances we've had both ended up in the back of the net as Hills chases a lost cause. Although we did have that shot very early on from Tony Bird that whistled just wide of the upright. There's Glyn Hodges. That's a superb pass to find Gregor Rioch, who's been involved in a lot of the play so far, and attacks once more down this left-hand side and beats Jason Price really well. And Price recovers to make a good challenge. And it will be Gregor Rioch who will take the long throw. 22-year-old. Man heads it back to him. Oh, he's very tight corner there. Good cross though by Rioch. A little bit too close to Roger Freestone. And it's Brian's header. Oh, and a high foot it looked like there from Neil Mann, but Appleby regains possession and Swansea have it once more in their back four. Putman once more. The ball ricochets in favour of Hull City that time. And Scott Thompson has all the time in the world to start another Hull City attack. 26 minutes played and a man on the ball just there has scored Hull City's only goal, but it's 1-1. But here's Appleby, who could change all that. Well, he's looking for Putnam, who really didn't help him. He could have made a run inside the defence, but he chose not to. Derby looking to win back possession from Priest, but Ampadu spreads the ball once more to Hills. Putnam challenged from behind and a free kick's given. Not to the liking of the Hull City crowd, but that matters little, and it's down to Mr. Laws, the referee. There are only two in the Hull City wall. I'm not surprised because it's a fair distance out. I'd say pretty close, 35 yards this. But it is Hills to drive it in. It's a pretty poor shot. But here's Gorman trying the chip. He really didn't get enough on it. Scott Thompson with not the best clearance, but here's Hodges. Good turn round Price. Hodges has played really well so far. His vision has certainly helped Hull City in the creative area. Here's Dwayne Darby trying to turn Christian Edwards. And Hull City and Dwayne Darby in particular have found Swansea's defence in stern mood so far this afternoon. Only that one chance taken by Dwayne Darby. And that's really the only sniff of goal Hull City have had so far. Certainly Swansea have dominated in territorial advantage. As Ian Wright just watches the ball go out. And Scott Thompson will take the goal kick. Richard Peacock just flicked the ball on there to Dwayne Darby. Dwayne Darby looking for support. He finds it in the shape of Patrick Dickinson, but he didn't really have enough room to manoeuvre. Here's Warren Joyce though. And again, a great pass by him out to Gregor Rioch. I've been really impressed by Hull City's passing so far. Unfortunately, Gregor Rioch didn't take full advantage of another excellent bit of play from Hull City's midfield. Well, really, that's what Hull City have lacked over the years as a creative midfielder. And I think they've found certainly an excellent player in Glyn Hodges. He played a year in Hong Kong before coming here to Hull City, but I think on evidence so far he's been an excellent find and has been at the heart of many of Hull City's moves so far. Glyn Hodges actually had trials in this pre-season with Nottingham Forest. However, Hull City were prepared to give him a one-year contract, and so he took that opportunity. And Swansea waste possession there though. Warren Joyce takes the free kick quickly, but not from the right place, so Mr. Laws orders retake. That time the ball spins to Gregor Rioch. Rioch attacking Ampadu. Rioch hasn't really made many inroads in this Swansea defence so far. He's seen quite a lot of the ball down this left-hand side. As Joyce looks back for right. And right looking for Rioch, but the ball just runs out of play. Well, Swansea made their way to the playoff final last June in the 3rd Division, only to be beaten by a cruel last-minute goal from Northampton Town, which saw them go up to the 2nd Division and Swansea stay down in the 3rd. I'm sure they'll be looking to gain automatic promotion this time round. I've certainly seen one or two summer changes. Probably the most notable, Steve Torpey's departure. However, they've looked quite confident so far in the season, and a lovely turn there by O'Gorman, attacking Neil Mann. Neil Mann tracking back, and a good bit of defending all round there from Hull City as Ian Wright made his way across. And there's Price's cross. Oh, and the header came in there from, I think it was Jonathan Coates once more. He's already got one goal to his name this afternoon, but he's still looking for another. Here's Dwayne Darby on a lovely touch on for Warren Joyce, who looks for Gregor Rioch. Rioch spreads the play in towards the middle, and there's Glyn Hodges trying to win the header, cleared by John Hills. And here's Putnam. Tony Bryan spreads the ball once more. Joyce to Peacock, but it's very compacted, that central midfield area, but Peacock does well to spread the ball to Dickinson. Now can he get one of his good crosses in? Dickinson does well and wins a corner. certainly when given the opportunity, Patrick Dickinson is an excellent crosser of the ball, and that's something perhaps Hull City have lacked in recent years. But Glyn Hodges will swing this in with his left foot. And Rob Dewhurst, I think, penalised there for a push. And Roger Freestone will take the free kick. Tony Bryan up, and so's Neil Mann, and Bryan wins out, and Hull City have looked... I was just going to say they've looked very assured at the back so far, but then Rob Dewhurst puts a rather wild clearance in. Rob Dewhurst does have a contract up to the end of the 1998-99 season, and really deservedly so, after he fought back in excellent style since returning from that broken leg injury, as Dave Gorman gets inside the Hull City defence, and the cross is deflected out for a corner, but that was dangerous for Hull City. And that's the second time a winger has got inside Hull City's defence. First of all, on this right-hand side, it was Richard Appleby, but then it was Dave O'Gorman. And the corner is taken short, and there's a lot of space here for a good cross. But in fact, the cross is wasted. We've got about 10 minutes to go to half-time, still one apiece. But I must say Swansea have certainly had the better of it. Not really in chances created. They haven't had too many of those, but certainly territorially. Swansea just knocking the ball around. But here's Tony Bryan. A good ball there to Patrick Dickinson. It's a long ball looking for Dwayne Darby, cleared by Walker. And here's Joyce, and here's Neil Mann. Man out to this near side, and Gregor Rioch now. What will he do this time? He takes it inside. He hasn't gone outside this time. Gregor Rioch, shooting opportunity perhaps. There's the dummy, and there's the goal! Gregor Rioch. Tremendous strike, I must say. He dummied twice, cut inside, and unleashed a superb shot into the corner. And Gregor Rioch scores a captain's goal to make it Hull City 2, Swansea City 1, just 9 minutes before the break. Oh, that's an excellent strike by Gregor Rioch. And his first goal since April, and it will certainly give him a lot of pleasure, and certainly Hull City and Swansea will feel very hard done by after they've certainly had the best of this first half. Well, it was a tremendous run by Gregor Rioch. He was fooling everyone there, because on a couple of occasions already he's tried to go outside his marker but hasn't found any chances in doing that. But here's Putnam looking for an immediate equaliser once again, but that's a wasted cross. And the Hull City's fans let him know that. Well, Hull City must realise, though, they've just taken the lead, but they mustn't let what just happened before happen again. After Dwayne Darby's excellent headed goal, Jonathan Coates struck an immediate equaliser. And it's really those minutes after a goal that are probably the most important to defend against. Here comes Swansea once more. They've certainly been dangerous down this right-hand side as Appleby gets it inside. And that's off the post. Tony Bird looking for the header again there. Oh, but what a chance for Dave O'Gorman. He swapped passes with Appleby and struck a venomous shot wide of Scott Thompson's reach, and well, it cannoned off the post to the relief of Hull City. But Hull City cannot afford to relax for one moment as the corner comes in towards the fast post, and free kick's given that time. And Scott Thompson will take the free kick. Well, Dave O'Gorman's certainly been involved in many of the moves so far, and he had a chance there to equalise for the second time for Swansea. Here's Appleby once more, well tracked back by Rioch, and well, then what's happened here? A free kick given against Appleby. But I should think Hull City will be quite pleased to see the half-time whistle and try to take a bit of momentum out of what's been a stirring first half performance by Swansea. And that was a long free kick, but here's Warren Joyce to pick it up once more. It's forward for Dwayne Darby. And that was a late flag against him. Certainly a correct one. Here's Hills. And Putnam. Ampadu plays it out to the left, and Hills in once more, but so is Hull City marker Warren Joyce. Peacock running out of space, and Hull City have been hurried into losing possession once more. Forward by Price. And the shot came in from Walker, blocks by Hull City, and they've run into trouble once more. Good tackle by Peacock, but it must say he was quite fortunate there. Otherwise Appleby could have been away, but good running here from Neil Mann. And Neil Mann goes racing through the middle. An excellent run there by Neil Mann. But Roger Freestone reacted quickly to clear the danger. Neil Mann enjoying an excellent game, and that's... well, he slipped as he shot there, David Putnam. And certainly Hull City's fans delighted with that second goal. I must say Hull City desperately needed it, because Swansea looked as though they could take the lead at any time. But now with Hull City in front, Swansea have to chase the game once more. And once again, the free kick will be taken. Ampadu is there to take it. Hills puts the cross in, cleared by Bryan, not too convincingly. Right, doesn't get the header anywhere. There's O'Gorman, who hit the post a few moments ago. Ampadu. And again, and chips it in, looking for Appleby, but Hull City just let that run out of play. Of about 2.5 minutes to go until half-time. Hull City lead by 2-1. Darby up once more, but he lost that one. It's Peacock who managed to win possession right on the touchline there. Peacock turning inside, he's looks very lively so far today, Richie Peacock, and once again gets the ball to Warren Joyce. Puts the long ball forwards, and Darby was once again after it, but that's the second time he's been caught offside. And once again, Putnam inside the Hull City defence, and the cross, really not the best one again. It was straight into Scott Thompson's arms at the near post. However, Tony Bird was lurking at the far post to poach any chance that came his way. Putnam once more. Oh, and a good ball again to find Hills. Hills cross. Oh, it's very deep and in fact nearly cut Scott Thompson off his line. Thankfully for the Tigers, it was just slightly wide of the target. There's Neil Mann with a header, but a free kick given against him for a foul on Keith Walker. Walker just knocks it square. Hills forwards once more, and Putnam has once again got clear. And Wright knocks it behind for a corner. But Hull City is certainly having problems down that left-hand side. The far side, that is. Swansea's left-hand side for attacking. And that's at least the second time they've got inside Hull City's defence. And here's the corner. Oh, and he did get this head on it, I think, there. Swansea, or Scott Thompson, did punch the ball clear, but it's been a satisfactory first half, this for Hull City. A bit of a chat there between Gregor Rioch and an opponent, but certainly Hull City go in with their heads held high, 2-1 up, although Swansea could argue that they've certainly had the best of it so far. Although the half-time score here at Boothbury Park, thanks to a goal from Dwayne Darby, and also another from Gregor Rioch, a spectacular shot, and a goal from Jonathan Coates for Swansea, means it's 2-1 to the Tigers at half-time. Well, you rejoin us for the second half, and doesn't look like any substitutions have taken place at half-time. And Swansea will now be attacking the goal to our left. They trail by 2-1, thanks to Dwayne Darby, his first goal of the season, a fine header from Richard Peacock's cross, and an excellent individual goal by Gregor Rioch on 36 minutes. Although a goal by Jonathan Coates has given Swansea hope for the second half. Here's Appleby straight away. He gets the return ball from Price. And here's Rob Dewhurst with the throw-in. And here's Darby, took it well on the chest, and he's got his back to goal once more, but he'll look here for Glyn Hodges, who gets a good cross in, a bit too close to the goalkeeper though. And Roger Freestone launches another attack with Putnam, whose long ball should be dealt with by Thompson. Bird. And Putnam in there once more, but in goes Peacock as well. Swansea win possession though. Here's Hills. On the far side, Price looking for Appleby. His cross in, Price with the chance. And he couldn't quite find the target. It came very quickly at him. Jason Price couldn't take advantage of it. Putnam challenging for the header. Now then, here's Coates, the goal scorer for Swansea. Coates cutting inside, that's a good ball for Bird, who nearly got it back to Coates. And O'Gorman, sorry, was nearly in there as well. That's a rather loose ball, but Dwayne Darby didn't really have much chance of getting there. And Freestone gets it back. That's Dewhurst with the header, but that will just run out of play for a throw-in for Swansea on the far side. Here's Ampadu touching it away, but Joyce was nearly in there. Here's John Hills on this left-hand side. Putnam's gone inside this time, but Peacock does well to track back and wins possession for Hull City, and Dickinson gets himself in a little bit of bother, but a loose bit of control there by Hills means it's a throw into the Tigers. So a throw in to Hull City down this near side. Patrick Dickinson takes it and gets the ball back, in fact, off Putnam. Darby challenged, but he couldn't win the ball, and that's a lovely ball spread to the far side for Gregorio once more. He cut inside and scored that brilliant goal in the first half, but he couldn't do that then, as away comes Price. And that's a good ball, good cross by Gorman, and well claimed Scott Thompson. There's the throw out to Dickinson. He's found it difficult to beat players Patrick Dickinson after coming into the first team. I know he's certainly been impressive in the reserve team. I've seen him a couple of times. It's a big step into the first team, but I'm sure he's got a good future ahead of him. There's a good clearance by Wright. Price on a chance here for Swansea, and the shot rammed in from Gorman just over the crossbar. That was a dangerous moment for Hull City as they got outnumbered there on the right flank. And Dave O'Gorman, who hit the post in the first half, has another half chance, to say the least. Hit forward by Wright, and Glyn Hodges will chase this. Oh, and he does really well to win the ball, Glyn Hodges, and is obviously tugged over there. The referee turns away and doesn't see anything wrong with it. Here's Wright, and here's Peacock. And Peacock's shot, oh, it's well saved. And Dwayne Darby in there, but Roger Freestone gathered the ball well. It opened up there for a few seconds, and for Richard Peacock. Now then, there's a substitution for Hull City. And for the Tigers, on comes number 12, Antonio Donthel. Darby still has possession inside that touchline, and that is a corner kick. Well played, Dwayne Darby, winning that one. Now then, the corner to be taken by the Tigers. A couple of central defenders are up. Hodges took it. Here he is. Glyn Hodges. Oh, once again, excellent ball. And the ball crossed in by Brian. An appeal for handball. It wasn't. Certainly not on Hull City players' part to voice for this one, but here goes Gorman for Swansea. And that is a goal kick, yes. After a good challenge. Donthell looking for that one. Here's Peacock. And Putnam kept it in, and he's got possession as well. Putnam's cross and cut out by Ian Wright. But once more, Swansea City looking very, very dangerous when they do come forwards. Corner taken by Putnam. Short, and Ampadu with a shot. It's just over the crossbar. Hull City not too comfortable at the back for the time being. It's Patrick Dickinson, by the way, that was replaced by Antonio Donthell. Dickinson, I'm sure, is gaining experience throughout every game he's played. He did make his debut against Peterborough a couple of weeks ago, and played the other night against Macclesfield. Here's Gorman. Appleby just outside him, though. Gorman might want to cut inside. There's his cross, and that's a goal! A lovely header by Tony Bird. It was a deft finish, that, by Bird, and that's his third goal of the season, counting one penalty, and Swansea City are level once again. Well, it was an excellent bit of play by Gorman. I thought he might have taken it inside, in fact, but he chose to go outside. And Appleby, his teammate, went inside. But it was a great cross and a really fine header. Oh, and Derby plays it on for Glyn Hodges. Straight away once more, and Hodges has scored for City. It's 3-2 to the Tigers, and Hull City have made an immediate riposte. And it's Glyn Hodges' first goal for the Tigers since his move here. And Hull City celebrate because they've scored within a minute of Swansea equalising and have dealt them a bit of their own medicine after Hull City took the 1-0 lead. Swansea equalised straight away, and after Swansea's second equaliser now, well, Hodges with a fine finish to make it 3-2 to Hull City in the 55th minute of the game. And a lot of credit in that must go down to Dwayne Derby, who shielded the ball and played a lovely ball through for him, inviting Hodges to hit the ball home. And Swansea City are shell-shocked after that, they must be. But here's Hills looking for an immediate equaliser once again. Here's Peacock. Does well to ride one challenge and plays it with Joyce and Donthell. Great ball looking for Glyn Hodges. That's a little bit too far though, and Roger Freestone picks the ball up. City fans certainly finding their voice once again. Ampadu's cross cut out by Wright. Ampadu, second opportunity, and Rioch is in and concedes the throw-in despite appealing to the referee. Here's Ampadu. And he's looking out to this side, and Hills controlled the ball well at full stretch. His cross in, once again, Wright gets the ball clear, not very far, here's Price. Ampadu. Here's Donthel. And that's a good ball to find Gregor Rioch to attack this left-hand side. Rioch looking for the far side. That's a good-looking ball. Oh, nearly played in Warren Joyce. Warren Joyce, who scored the winner on Tuesday. That's brought the house down, really, at Boothby Park with 7 minutes remaining after he came on as a substitute. And that fine substitute performance, along with Neil Mann, who was another substitute who came on, has earned him a first-team start today. But here's Price. His cross is deflected and behind the goal for a corner. And the corner on the far side will be taken by Swansea. Only 3 players in the area, but they're being joined by Ampadu now and Price. There's the ball square. Here is Ampadu. His shot is deflected and Bird's there. And the offside flag was up. Well, it was an interesting decision here today by Mark Hateley, the manager of Hull City, to leave himself out of the team. Maybe he feels he can get a better view of proceedings, perhaps, or we'll just wait and see if we're in those tactics. And it's the first time he's actually dropped himself from the team in preference to adding an extra midfielder in there, and that has gone to Neil Mann. Here's Edwards, and once again Christian Edwards, a 21-year-old who's played against Belgium, West Germany and Holland, has attracted Premier League interest. The 21-year-old has played for Wales and under-21 squad. And today's attendance has just been announced, and it's a very healthy 5,198. It's not their biggest of the season. And that was, of course, on the opening fixture here at Boothby Park against Notts County, 7,500. But in midweek it was 3,500, which isn't bad for a Coca-Cola Cup tie, in fact, as Richard Peacock skillfully gets the ball clear, looking for Dwayne Darby. Hills picks it up though. And Ampadu inside. Oh, that was a handball, yes, by Appleby. Yes, but Hull City can certainly expect a bumper crowd in for a couple of weeks' time when they meet Crystal Palace here in the first leg of the second round of the Coca-Cola Cup. Premier League Crystal Palace, who won at Leeds a week ago today. However, show their inconsistency by losing at Southampton on Tuesday as Neil Mann battles through but doesn't find much support. That's on looking for Dewhurst, who's... Oh, he lost out in the race there, but here's Tony Bird. And Appleby looking for it as well, but he has to settle for a corner. And Appleby is across to take it. And he will hope to swing it in with his left foot. Well, that's a dangerous corner and a good header by Rob Dewhurst. And Walker with the ball there across his own goal mouth. Peacock, who's really impressed me with his skill this afternoon, but he's lost it out this time to Bird. Ball through, and Bird's putting him just straight offside there for a couple of seconds. And he was caught by the linesman's flag. Hodges with a lovely bit of play, and that's on for Derby. Derby can make it 4. He has! With typical aplomb, Dwayne Derby has made it Hull City 4, Swansea City 2. And a fan on the field to celebrate with him. But Dwayne Derby has opened his account for this season in spectacular style here, with his second goal of the game. And that goal from Dwayne Derby in the 62nd minute is a reward for what's been an excellent display from him so far. He's been involved in all of Hull City's goals, apart from possibly the Gregor Rioch one. He laid the one on for Glyn Hodges, and he scored 2 himself. 2 excellent finishes, and that one was a lovely chip over Roger Freestone. And well, after 3 games without a goal so far in the league this season, Hull City have scored 4. Although Swansea straight back on the attack, although Gorman missed his kick there, and Donthell wins the free kick. Well, last season, Dwayne Derby opened his account for the season here on the opening day with a hat-trick against Darlington, and he'll be looking for another one of those today to round off what's been so far an excellent afternoon for him. Hull City fans certainly delighted with the emphatic scoreline we have now. Hull City 4, Swansea 2, and the referee ordering the free kick to be retaken. That's in by Rio. Derby once again was challenging. Peacock once more. This time left the ball behind in his eagerness to beat his marker, John Hills. Hull City have the throw-in, just about level with the edge of the penalty area. And Ampadu just lets the ball run out for a goal kick. Swansea now find themselves 2 goals adrift and really need to step up a gear, though they'll find that increasingly difficult as Hull City are firmly in the box seat now, 2 goals in front, although a goal from Swansea could make it certainly a very interesting game as Hodges chases the ball, and suspicion of a back pass, although I think it was a miss-hit pass by the Swansea defender. That's a long ball by Walker, looking for Putnam. Swansea need a quick riposte, as they did for the first goal for Hull City. Here's Price. Here's Ampadu once more. Ampadu, will he look out to that right-hand side? Here's Ampadu once more. That's in there. Chance here for... is Price in there again? He's scrambled it in. Well, Appleby had the original chance. It was a good save by Thompson. They didn't get the ball clear. And Dewhurst is on the ground after a good bit of goal poaching there from Jason Price. And only 3 minutes after Dwayne Derby's second of the afternoon. Well, Swansea City have made it Hull City 4, Swansea 2, with 25 minutes to go. Well, we've certainly got a match on our hands now. Swansea firmly back in the game now. And it was a good bit of determination there by Price. Not known for his goal scoring. Jason Price, the 20-year-old. Well, he's done so this time, and it could be a very important goal in the course of this game for Swansea. They needed a quick goal, as I said, after Derby had made it 4-2, and they certainly got it. Oh, and there's Bird with a header chance here for Putnam, and Oh, it's cleared by Neil Mann, I think, in the end. And the ball runs out of play, but Swansea City certainly fighting back here with purpose. Hills. Oh, and well seen by Antonio Donthel. He'll look for Hodges perhaps, or he does so for Peacock. Cuts inside but loses his footing, like he has on a couple of occasions today. That's the long ball looking for Dwayne Darby. Chance here for Appleby, and that's inside for Gorman. Chancey, Gorman's there, and desperate challenge from Ian Wright, setting the ball clear. But here's Putnam retrieving possession for Swansea. And his cross cannons off a City player for a corner. And it's clear to see Swansea are not finished in this game yet. Just over 20 minutes remaining. The flick on by Putnam is over the crossbar though. And Hull City can breathe once again. Well, Scott Thompson just calms things down for a minute. After that gutsy response from Swansea. Here's Peacock though, lobs it forward to Dwayne Darby. He's got Hodges ahead of him. Here is Darby. He's looking across and cleared by Ampadu for another corner for Hull City. It's certainly end-to-end stuff here today. No shortage of goalmouth action really. And that's illustrated in the scoreline. We've had 7 goals. Here's Glyn Hodges to take the corner. There it is. And the header is flicked in by Neil Mann on this near post. The header came in at the far post. I think Ian Wright was the one who got it. And Neil Mann with a tap-in to be fair. But it's a really important goal for Hull City. And it's made this score 5-3 to the Tigers. With around 20 minutes of the game remaining. And this game, well, it's falling away from Swansea now. And they need a quick response once more. But Neil Mann scored 3 times last season. Well, the 24-year-old was in the right place at the right time there to knock it in. Now, 8 goals in this game. And that's been a rarity in these last few years at Boothbury Park. And it's 5-3. Certainly in a league game last season didn't score more than 3 against Brighton here. Certainly I remember a couple of years ago they beat Crewe 7-1. Here's Putnam who wants to change the scoreline. He wins a throw-in for Swansea. Hills in and a high foot definitely. Like Glyn Hodges who challenged him. This will certainly be the highest number of goals Hull City have scored in at least 2 years. In the league anyway. That's forward by Price, but Hull City controlling at the back now after really a shaky first half and the beginning of the second as well. Derby once more wins possession and tries to shake off Price and wins a free kick. Brilliant bit of play by Dwayne Derby. Determination at its best. And Hull City have the free kick right by this touchline to be taken by Warren Joyce. Joyce swings it in. It's straight to Derby though. Took it well and plays the ball too far for Donthell that time. But Hull City obviously delighted after the barren opening to the season. They hadn't scored in defeats at Mansfield, Peterborough, and also demoralising one here really against Notts County, but they've responded in excellent style and should now be taking away all the 3 points, although Glyn Hodges looks for Dwayne Derby. Swansea might have other ideas, but they need a goal quickly to get back in this game. Here's Donthell. And here's Neil Mann. Mann looking for the chip. Oh, that's a glorious goal by Neil Mann. And that really has put the icing on the cake. It's Neil Mann's second. It's Hull City's 6th. And that's a stunning strike by Neil Mann. Chipped it to perfection. And with 17 minutes remaining, Neil Mann has surely put this game beyond Swansea now. It's Hull City 3. It's Hull City 6. Swansea City 3. Well, what a tremendous chip by Neil Mann. Certainly regarded as one of the most skillful, maybe the most skillful player at the club in these last few years. He hasn't really got his name on the score sheet too often though. But here's Dwayne Derby and they're still hungry for more. Derby, who's played a part in almost all the goals. That time it's a loose ball though, and Swansea shell-shocked, I should think, by this flurry of goals in this second half. Here's Ampadu. Loses out. Good tackle by Neil Mann. It looked like a free kick's given though. Swansea come forward again though. An interception by Rioch. The ball forwards only finds Walker. Here's Mann once more, who's really impressed me this afternoon. His powerful running, which is really the only thing he lacked. But he's showing it again here. And a good bit of play, and he nearly set Glyn Hodges away. Here's Donthell, who's also looked good since coming on. And Joyce. Peacock once more. And Swansea across to make the challenge. Derby once more. No room to work in. Swings in the cross. And that is just kept in by Price. Picked up by Peacock. Peacock looking for the long ball once more and looking for Derby. The goalkeeper deals with it. He knocks it out of play though, yes, for a throw-in to Hull City on this near side. Good pressure by Dwayne Derby. 23-year-old chasing what looked like a lost cause. Well, it was 2 goals in 4 minutes there by Neil Mann. And it's put Swansea City in real trouble now. 6-3 down. And with about 15 minutes remaining, 14 minutes now, they desperately need a goal to have any sort of chance whatsoever. They can certainly not afford to concede another Swansea. Although 3 goals, I'm sure, be probably too much. But here goes Putnam. Oh, good cross in. Oh, and Dewhurst! He's scored an own goal. Dewhurst at the far post. It missed Tony Bird in the middle, as did Ampadu. But Dewhurst was there, and I must say, well, he's made it 6-4 now to Hull City. He hasn't scored a goal in the right net since April 1995, but he's put one in with quite a style into his own net here to make the 10th goal of the game. Extraordinary second half. It was only 2-1 at half time, and it's now 6-4, but Swansea City have been thrown a lifeline by one of the most unlikely sources. Well, Neil Mann was in the right place at the right time for the first of his 2 goals a few minutes ago, but Dewhurst was in the wrong place at the wrong time there. And unfortunately for the former Blackburn defender, he's conceded a goal, but it'll matter little if Hull City take away the 3 points. What an amazing game. 6-4 though. And with 12 minutes remaining now, Swansea have to throw everything at the Tigers. Here's Ampadu. Really hasn't featured enough for me, Ampadu. And there's Gorman once more, and the cross could come in here. It's too long and it's out of play, and frustrating for Swansea. And Glyn Hodges will be replaced by Andy Brown here. Glyn Hodges, I think, just running out of steam a little bit. But he's certainly had an excellent game. I've been really impressed by his passing ability. He spread the play so well. And after this long search for a creative midfielder, I think Hull City have found one to fit the mould in the shape of Glyn Hodges. Here's Andy Brown's first touch. Takes the ball away. Oh, manages to keep possession, although Ampadu's stretching leg gains it back for Swansea. Price. Here's Walker back to Ampadu once more. Appleby, who had an excellent first half, I thought, but really hasn't featured in the second. Hit the post, of course, in the first half, but Joyce gets the ball forward. A good ball that to Dwayne Darby. Turns away. Now head down, runs towards the goal. Rides a challenge from Bird, and here's Warren Joyce to play it in for Peacock, who is judged to be offside. And so the free kick will be taken by Freestone. Well, Swansea trail by 2 goals. Can be made up in 10 minutes. Certainly got a job in on their hands here, though. Ampadu spreads the play once more. Price again. Price with the cross. Appleby coming in. So did Putnam. And a good clearance there by Donthell. Here's Brown, though. Oh, a high foot definitely there by Ampadu, and Brown holds his head. And a free kick given there in the centre circle. A high foot certainly is a high foot when it touches Andy Brown's head at 6'4". The former Leeds player just signed over a year ago. And he gets away here from John Hills. Andy Brown is tackled and the corner's given. Ball just inches out of play there. Well, in this sort of form, Premier League, Crystal Palace, who will face City in the next round, should beware, really, as Neil Mann takes the corner and the goalkeeper gets his hand to it. Just palms it away. And Derby gets the hat-trick! And it's 7th heaven for Hull City. 7-4 to the Tigers. Dwayne Derby has recorded his first hat-trick of the season. He struck 3 last season. And what an amazing afternoon for Hull City. 3 league games without a goal and 7 in one game. Well, that's extraordinary, and Dwayne Derby obviously delighted, as is the majority of Boothry Park. Tremendous header. And that's his 2nd header of the afternoon to complete his hat-trick. Well, this is the first time City have scored 7 in a league game since that 7-1 win over Crewe I mentioned earlier in 1994. And that day it was Linton Brown who hit a hat-trick in 7 minutes. And of course he went on to play for Swansea, but he's now at Scarborough on trial. But Swansea City have a free kick. They'll look to score the game's 12th goal. And it's a dangerous free kick and well collected there by Thompson. Well, they've certainly looked very impressive going forwards this afternoon, Hull City. They've seemed to have lacked ideas in these last few matches as Andy Brown's ball is driven a little bit wide. Derby nearly in, and Mann was nearly in there as well, but they've certainly looked threatening just about every time they've come forward. Certainly Swansea had the better of the first half, but here's Neil Mann, as Hull City have certainly had the better of the second. Mann attacking his mark, a good challenge by Walker though. And he gets the ball clear for a demoralised Swansea City. Appleby, no challenge, although Donthell now comes across. He has the ball once more and he kicks it out of play. Well, that Dwayne Derby goal coming with 8 minutes remaining in the match. And this game is certainly now beyond Swansea City, although that was never really much in doubt. Here's Putnam though, to add some respectability to the scoreline. There's his cross, just beyond Walker, and Hull City struggle to make the clearance. They have now though. Warren Joyce and Dwayne Derby are looking for an 8th. Good ball by Dwayne Derby. Forward by Dickinson. Derby, Andy Brown gets it through. Dwayne Derby's there. He could score the 4th. He can't. Because even though he puts the ball in the net, he's adjudged to be offside. And the free kick will be given. But once again, that was a menacing attack by Hull City, orchestrated by Warren Joyce and Dwayne Derby. Andy Brown played it through, but Derby just a couple of yards offside. Here's Neil Mann. Joyce to Mann once more. Nutmegs it, but only gives it to Putnam. Oh, and he's done well here as Putnam. In his cross-in is a little bit too deep though, and it runs out of play from Gorman. David Putnam has had a reasonably good game, I must say. Probably one of the best moments of his career was last season when he scored the winner against Barnsley in the Coca-Cola Cup second round. Barnsley now, of course, in the Premier League. But also chanting the name of the hat-trick hero today, Dwayne Darby, chasing the ball once more. He's only had 3 chances in this game, and he's taken all of them. Andy Brown nearly in there. Swansea City come away with the ball. I must say, holes have opened up in that Swansea City defence. They've tried desperately to get back into this game. They haven't managed to do so, and here's Andy Brown. Here's Neil Mann. Oh, he rides one challenge, and Ampadou's chasing him, but Neil Mann has got away. He could make it 8. Great save by Roger Freestone. Otherwise, that would have been a total embarrassment for Swansea City to have been beaten 8-4. But Neil Mann with a really purposeful run. And he was only eventually blocked by an excellent save by Roger Freestone. As we approach the game's close. The ball in, looking for Bird by Price and cleared by Brown. And it's been, I wouldn't say a perfect afternoon for Hull City, because their defence have conceded 4 goals at home, which I'm sure Mark Hateley will have something to say about, but their attack has just clicked today, and it with devastating effect as Tony Bird runs through. Bird's got, he's gone very wide though, Tony Bird. He rounded the goalkeeper, he's cut the ball back. Oh, and it's too far for everyone, and Neil Mann picks up the pieces, but for a moment there, Tony Bird had a chance to score Swansea's 5th. The ball's out of play for a throw-in on the far side. He couldn't manage that. And Swansea come forward for one of the last times in this extraordinary match. Of course, last season in the FA Cup, Hull City beat Whitby Town 8-4. Just another goal from the Tigers would equal that scoreline. On that day, Dwayne Darby scored a double hat-trick. He's only got 3 today, though. Although I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted to get himself off the mark in goal-scoring terms this season. Here's Ampadou once again. Price gives him the ball back. And here's Hills. There's the ball forward, and Rioch is chasing Price. And he might beat Gregor Rioch here. Price goes in. Now then, what's going on? Rioch challenged Price, and Rioch certainly lashed out there at Jason Price, and the referee, David Laws, will certainly have to do something about that. There was a clear elbow from Gregor Rioch. And, well, in the 2nd minute of injury time, it's a shame. The game has to finish on this note. Jason Price and Rioch, they were certainly challenging each other. Rioch walking away from the referee, but the referee surely must call him across. He has. And Mr. Laws is calling Gregor Rioch across as Jason Price receives attention. I don't think Price really, there's hardly any of the game left. And Rioch is walking away, and the red card has been brought out for Gregor Rioch. And really, that's a blot on the copybook for City's skipper, who scored that excellent first half goal. He's been ordered off for this elbow in the 2nd minute of injury time. But it's still been a triumphant day for Hull City, although they will play out these final seconds with 10 men. as Price is still receiving attention on the field, although I think he'll probably be brought off for these last few seconds. There's not much point of him continuing if he has an injury. Yes, and Price does hobble off. Although you'd think it would be the elbow in his face that did the damage. Although Scott Thompson will take the free kick. It's interesting the free kick has actually been given Hull City's way as the final whistle is blown, and despite that sour note to end on with Gregor Rios sending off, it's been a triumphant day for Hull City. They were 2-1 up at half-time after they hadn't scored a goal in the league so far this season, but they have netted an incredible 7 today, thanks to a hat-trick from Dwayne Darby and other goals from Gregor Rios, the skipper, who was later sent off, Glyn Hodges, and an excellent couple of goals from Neil Mann. 4 goals from Swansea couldn't affect the final result. But it's been an extraordinary day for Hull City and their supporters who have been long waiting for a performance like this. Well, my name's Rory Squires, and the final score here at Boothry Park is Hull City 7, Swansea City 4, as the crowd have enjoyed an 11-goal feast.